was a success, which we were able to come to a consensus on many of these different issues. Therefore, the Russian Federation would like to further encourage in starting the drafting of the resolution. Thank you.
Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your hand. The delegation of the United States has 20 minutes.
This delegate highly agrees with the idea of the delegate of India that fundamental solution is needed and very necessary, alongside with the idea of delegate of China that strengthening domestic industry is necessary. In this point of view, the delegate of the United States of America strongly believes that empowering domestic market is necessary and is needed, and this delegate of the USA would also like to humbly ask the delegate of Russia Federation and Japan about the necessity and the efficiency of an institution in this situation where a very strong catastrophe has just strengthened the whole nations, and this is a very fatal crisis. So the delegate of the United States of
Delegate, your time has
America
elapsed. Please take your seats.
would like to know about this.
Delegate, your time has elapsed. Please take your seats. The time for the moderate caucus has been elapsed. Are there any points or motions in the committee? The delegation of China, you have to make one.
Continue the same topic for 5 minutes, and just time 60 seconds.
Could you clarify the individual speaking time?
60 seconds.
Thank you, delegate. Are there any points or motions in the committee? Mr. Pan, you have been recognized.
Motion to move into an unmoderate caucus for the purpose of drafting resolution for the duration of 10 minutes.
Thank you, delegates. Are there any points or motions in the committee? Instead of following the order of precedence due to time constraint and due to the COVID-19, the chair would like to move into the motion mentioned by the delegate of China. The delegate of China has raised the moderate caucus for total 7 minutes, for total 5 minutes, individual times 60 seconds, for the purpose of having an extended discussion. This is a procedural vote that requires all delegates to vote, and no abstentions are simple majority to pass, and no abstentions are allowed. Delegates who are wishing to vote for this motion, please raise your placard high. Delegates against this motion, please raise your placard high. 3. With 11 nations for and 3 nations against, this motion passes. The committee will have a moderate caucus until 2:28. Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placard. Delegate of Iran, you have been recognized.
Thank you, chairs. Other than the transparency that Elon mentioned about the financial problems, this delegate would like to point out the transparency of confirmed cases needs to be revealed clearly. However, this delegate feels that there are high chances for countries to hide their data because high rate of confirmed cases might damage the state's reputation. So this delegate suggests the necessity of prohibiting this situation by specific actions. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placard high. Delegate of Russia, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the delegate of America. This delegate is more than humble to further discuss about what this delegate mentioned about the necessity of the Seoul Consensus, and that is exactly because in the current status quo, we have 2 main organizations that deals with pandemics: the World Health Organization and the Center for Disease Control (CDC). CDC is an organization of a certain government in the United States. World Health Organization covers 193 countries, which means it is very broad. For example, the World Health Organization tried 30 years to eradicate malaria from Africa. However, it has failed to do so until now. Therefore, this delegate believes by lessening the scope, by increasing the cooperation between like-minded countries who believe that COVID-19 is a problem, who believe that preventing pandemics should be something that should happen in the future, in the long term, and that we should further cooperate to enforce these measures of preventing pandemics. This delegate believes the Seoul Consensus can be a good new organization that
Thank you,
can
delegate.
do
Your time has
something
elapsed.
that
Please take your seats.
that previous organizations were able to do. Thank you.
Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placard high. The delegation of the United States has been recognized.
Thank you, dear delegates of Russian Federation. This delegate would like to say that, just mentioned by the delegate of Russian Federation, there was CDC and there was WHO, but they all just failed. We cannot deny this fact. They all just failed. Now, the delegate of America would like to strongly urge other nations, other delegates to have a new method. That we should not make another institute. We should not make another organization. We should just focus on what we just had. We know that CDC failed and WHO failed. Now we should know that a new institute is not the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate of the United States. Delegate wishing to speak, please raise your placard high. The delegation of Italy has been recognized.
Thank you, delegates of Russia and Japan. Since Italy was almost collapsed due to numerous number of COVID-19 confirmed cases, our nation really have lost its capacity to help our several LDCs. However, the situation has comparatively stabilized, so this delegate is here to help the other developing countries and cooperate each other. Therefore, this delegate is highly agree with the Russian Federation. And the delegate of Japan mentioned that during the unmoderated caucus, there is a common sense between China and Russian Federation. So this delegate would like to, in the moderate stances, this delegate would like to ask the China whether the delegate of China is
Delegate, your time has elapsed. Please take your
on the
seat.
Russian Federation or not. Thank you.
Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placard high. Delegation of Japan has been recognized.
Thank you, the delegate who has spoken before for pointing out that point. And this delegate would like to first emphasize the need for a new institution that is specialized for the emergency dealing with regarding COVID-19 to delegate other USA. Firstly, yes, the WHO, CDC, and other current organizations has failed to successfully deal with the virus. However, this delegate believes that was because a lot of functions that should have been done in order to stop the virus itself was dispersed to a lot of other small institutions such as UNDP, WHO, ECOSOC, and a lot of other organizations. So in order to successfully deal with the COVID-19, this delegate believes that there should be a control center that deals with all aspects of the COVID-19's results. And also, it would be necessary to help those who are marginalized and those who do not have a nation to get protection, such as refugees who are.
Delegate, your time has elapsed. Please take your seat.
Thank you.
Delegate wishing to speak, please raise your placard high. Delegation of the Republic of Korea has been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of the Russian Federation, the Republic of Korea agrees on the concept of Seoul Consensus, and that is efficient in controlling potential pandemic. Thus, Korea is willing to join and contribute to this new organization by sharing K-parental, quarantine, and 3T models in preparation of future pandemic. If there's any other countries who are willing to join this new organization when formed, we're willing to hear what they can contribute to this organization. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Delegate wishing to speak, please raise your placard high. Delegate of Vietnam has been recognized.
Sir, delegates from Vietnam, you're thinking that it's not necessary to have a completely new organization, but instead it's good to have units under WHO or any like existing organizations to perform the way of doing the Seoul consensus, such as they can just responsible deal with the vaccine development supplement. For example, like if a private organization gonna produce a certain kind of vaccine, the tariff gonna be high. So if it's like public organization gonna supply for it, the developing country can be more affordable for that. So instead, like the people from the developed country, they can provide some people experts to actually develop a vaccine for a particular region rather than per country. So for example, like for Europe or
Delegate, your time has elapsed, please take your seats. Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placard high. The delegate of China has been recognized.
Who has requested an answer from us. However, we believe that there's been a slight confusion between the Russian Federation and Japan because we agreed to the discussion that we had in the Modern Caucus because we wanted the United States to be a part of the vaccine development. However, they would not be able to be a part of it if we did it with the WHO. However, this does not mean that we agree that this does not mean that this vaccine committee and the new institution that Russian Federation has, the idea that he has produced is the same. Thus, we will still have to specify a lot more things. And so, yes, it still depends on a lot of major factors that we need to think about.
Thank you, delegate. Delegate, time for the Modern Caucus has been elapsed. Are there any points or motions in the committee? Yes, delegate of Russian Federation has been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Motion to move on to another 5 minutes of Modern Caucus for the purpose of finalizing the discussion that has happened during the Modern Caucus. Individual speaking time, 60 seconds.
Thank you, delegate. Are there any points or motions to this? Are there any points or motions in the committee? There has been a motion to move into a Modern Caucus with total duration time 5 minutes, individual time 60 seconds to finalize the discussion. This is a procedural vote that requires a simple majority to pass and no abstentions are allowed. When Minister or staff, please secure the door and take your voting position. Note passing will be temporarily forbidden. All delegates wishing to vote for this motion, please raise your placard high. All nations against this motion, please raise your placard high.
None.
With all nations for and non-nations against this motion passes. The committee will move into Modern Caucus until 2:27. Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your placard high. Delegate of Russia has been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, to respond to the delegate of the United States that we should not create further new organizations, this delegate would like to ask, then does that mean that we should give up in the face of COVID-19? When the League of Nations failed to maintain peace and security and World War II happens, the world never gave up. We created the United Nations and thus we maintained international peace and security. There has been no World War III. When in the face of COVID-19, the World Health Organization has failed. Does that mean that we should give up? No, that does not mean that we should give up. That means we should create a new organization that can amend the mistakes of the past and head on into a better future. And that is exactly why this delegate would like to thank the delegate of Italy and the delegate of the Republic of Korea for agreeing upon the ideas of this delegate and trying to
Delegate, your
make
time
better
has
paths
elapsed.
for
Please
better
take your
future.
seats. Delegate of the United States has been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. The delegate of the United States entirely agrees with the statement made by the Russian Federation in that the United Nations was able to become a better version of the League of Nations. However, this delegate is continuously asking, so how is the Seoul Consensus the United Nations version and not the League of Nations version? How is it better than the WHO? We're asking for the specifications, and the provision of the specification would be able to take the discussion to another level. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. The delegate of China has been recognized. during the unmoderated caucus time, the delegates of China and delegates of Japan made an agreement regarding the vaccine development. And we talked about the institution that's provisional and that's only working during the emergency situations, which means that there should be a vaccine development that is proportionally funded by the developed nations or the developing nations, but it's not a totally new institution, but rather it is a provisional institution and temporal, so that we can overcome this COVID-19 or the pandemic situation better. So I think the definition of newly formed institution and this emergency vaccine institution is different. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. The delegate of Japan has been recognized.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This delegate agrees the vaccine development scheme that China has mentioned, and this delegate believes that there was a miscommunication during the Moderate Caucus. This delegate has already asked the delegate of Russian Federation during the last moderate debate that if he is willing to comply to this idea of limiting his institution's purpose for dealing with the COVID-19 itself, and he has agreed upon it. And this delegate is curious what's the difference between his proposal and the delegate of China's proposal, because as far as this delegate understood, the newly formed emergency institution would not only deal with the vaccine itself, but it can deal with other aspects of dealing with COVID virus that is necessary and that cannot just be done under the WHO. So this delegate is curious what's the difference between Russian Federation and China's opinion, and wishes to see if there can be a gap that can be mended in order to come up with a physical resolution together. Thank you.
Delegate, the delegate of China has been recognized.
Well, I would like to explain the difference between what Japan has said and what Russia has said. Previously in the unmoderated caucuses, Russia has explained that this will be something that is established post COVID-19. So after all of this is over. However, what Japan has stated is during the progress of coronavirus. So we believe that either Russia has changed its mind or there was some kind of miscommunication, because these two things are very different things serving for very different purposes. So we would like a clarification on that. And as for the control center that Russia mentioned before about his new institution, we believe that this can be done through the WHO, this can be done through other UN organizations, and for the development of the economy as well. This does not need a new institution.
Delegate, your time has elapsed. Please take your seat. Time for the morning caucus has been elapsed. Before moving on, the chair highly recommends the delegates to raise a motion to adjourn the session for the total duration time of 10 minutes for the purpose of having ready. Are there any points or motions in the committee? This delegate of China has been recognized. This is order. There has been a motion to adjourn the session for a total duration time of 10 minutes for the purpose of having a break. Now the committee will move into voting procedures. This is a procedural vote that requires a simple majority to pass, and no abstentions are allowed. Administrative staff, please take your voting positions. No passing will be temporarily forbidden. Delegates wishing to vote for this motion, please reach your placard line. All those against this 13. All those against this motion, please reach your placard line.
1.
With 13 delegates for and 1 nation against, this motion passes. The committee will have recess until 2:15. Delegates, please be reminded that the session will resume at 2:15.